Now, from Wish TV, your local news source, this is All Indiana Politics.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome to another edition of All Indiana Politics, our first show of the new year. Indiana lawmakers are set to return to work this week, the official start of the 2022 legislative session. Lawmakers have already started work on the bill that would essentially ban COVID vaccine mandates here in Indiana. We also expect debate over possible tax cuts and new restrictions on abortions. We will also see a series of bills introduced by Republicans aimed at curbing the surge of violent crime in Indianapolis. Senator Young, thank you for joining us. Let's start by talking about the goal of the crime reduction package.
Sure. The goal is as elected leaders, probably the most important job we have is to protect our citizens. And with the rising crime rate in Marion County, especially with murders and violent crime across the state of Indiana, there are four of us that live in Marion County, Republican legislators, myself, Senator Freeman, Senator Sandlin, and Senator Kyle Walker. And the fifth, who doesn't live in Marion County, but represents part of Marion County, and that's Senator Mike Kreider. During the course of the summer, we got together and said, what can we do to help? We're not telling IMPD or the city they have to do anything, but we're giving them some tools that they can use to help reduce crime.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about the tools, because specifically that Senate Bill 6, which I believe you're one of the authors of, cuts down on the ability for nonprofits like the Bail Project to bail out potential criminals, right?
It would do that, except that's really Senator Freeman's bill. It's Senate Bill 8 that goes after the not-for-profits, the Bail Project. But in mine, this would apply statewide. And we have a list of 21 violent felonies in the state of Indiana. And if you look at the Marion County, the murder rate, just of the people who've committed the crime, 43%, Phil, of the people that we know have committed a murder or suspect of a murder were out on bail, either reduced or very low bail, and from a prior violent felony. And they've committed 43% of the known murders that we have so far. 25% of the people who have been murdered were out of jail awaiting trial, and they had committed a violent felony and got out on a reduced bail or low bail. Now, here's the point. If those people had still been in jail awaiting trial, those 43% wouldn't have killed anybody, and the 25% of our murderers, people who have been murdered, wouldn't have died. So we could actually save a lot of lives by doing this. The bill just simply says this: under the Indiana Constitution, unlike the federal Constitution, you're entitled to bail. It doesn't say bail has to be easy to obtain. And so we say that each county's bail schedule, wherever it's set, you can't go below that. The judge can't lower the bail. They can always go higher based on the evidence that the state may produce, but they can't go any less than the bail schedule. Plus, we don't allow them to get a surety bond or a cash bond from a bail bondsman. They have to pay cash. And the only ones that can pay cash or help out is either the defendant themselves or a close family member. Then they can bail out if they get the $20,000. If it's their second offense, like most of these people, almost every one of them have been in there more than one time on a violent felony.
Right.
The bail would then double to $40,000. Doesn't mean it couldn't go higher than that based on the circumstances and the evidence, but our intention is to keep these people off the street who can harm us, who have harmed us, and who have killed our citizens. Let me just say this. One person had already committed a murder, and there may have been two, but at least one, where the guy was out on a violent felony, cut off his ankle monitor, and killed his son. They had a hearing, and it's about 2 weeks ago now. The court let the guy back out on home detention and put him back on ankle monitoring. he already showed he can't follow the rules. He cut it off and killed somebody.
Right. We
did
covered
it
that.
again.
We covered that case extensively when
Yeah.
when the news first broke. So I hear you. What type of reaction are you getting from the Marion County Prosecutor's Office and law enforcement?
Law enforcement, they think we're a godsend. They can't say enough about the package of 5 bills that we have to help law enforcement, protect law enforcement, and also our citizens. The Marion County prosecutor, we've not only briefed the state prosecutor's IPAC, we also briefed the Marion County prosecutor. I think he had some positive thoughts. He wanted to have a chance to fully digest all the bills. He had mentioned to us in our meeting, he had a couple suggestions for changes. One is to make sure that they were able to be at these hearings, and the hearings took place up front on these bail. And so we're going to incorporate the suggestions he gave us into the bill when we do the amendment part in committee.
Okay, so one more question before I let you go. Where does it go from here?
Well, session reconvenes on September the 4th. We're a Tuesday committee. I'd originally scheduled these bills for a hearing on the 11th.
January 4th, right?
Yeah, January. Yeah, January the 4th. Scheduled the hearings, the first hearings on January the 11th, hold the bills, and then do amendments on January the 18th. Because it's a short session, we can hear the bills actually on January the 4th. We would not have actually gone into session, so I can't take a vote or amend any bill, but at least we can hear them, and I may move it up to the 4th.
Okay.
Either the 4th or the 11th.
All right, we'll keep a close eye on it. Senator Young, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking some time, sir. And coming up, looking back at the year in politics for 2021, one that started with the riot at the U.S. Capitol. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics on this Sunday. 2021 started with an unimaginable event at the U.S. Capitol and eventually found Indiana's governor going to court over unemployment.
Pull them this way! Pull forward!
January 6th, hundreds of people stormed the U.S. Capitol while Congress is moving to certify the presidential election results. Vice President Mike Pence was presiding over the Senate. Video would show Pence and his family escaping rioters by less than 1 minute.
What should happen to President Trump, in your opinion?
I think he needs to be removed from office. My colleagues are calling for it. A fellow Hoosier, Mike Pence, would have to be on board.
At least 7 people from Indiana face criminal charges from that day, including a Shelbyville man who federal authorities accuse of taking a gun to the Capitol. Mike Pence would leave the office of vice president on January 20th, eventually returning to Indiana, where he's taking steps toward a presidential campaign in 2024.
Thank you for giving us the privilege of serving the United States of America as Vice President.
I, Peter Buttigieg,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear.
In February, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg, with his husband by his side, would take the oath of office as Secretary of Transportation, the first openly gay cabinet member to have been confirmed by the Senate, and a longtime Buttigieg friend and top campaign advisor, would take over the Indiana Democratic Party.
There are a lot of people out there who are passionate Democrats who feel a little dispirited, actually, over the last few cycles. There's no question that we are in, sort of dire straits right now.
Indiana lawmakers spent the spring battling over the state budget, eventually using federal money to help school districts approve teacher raises. They also took aim at Governor Eric Holcomb's actions against COVID-19, overriding Holcomb's vetoes on 2 COVID-19 laws, including one allowing the General Assembly to call its own special session. The governor then sued legislative leaders in a case that will head to Indiana's Supreme Court in the spring. Another of the governor's COVID-19 response actions would wind up in court: the early end to federal pandemic unemployment aid here in Indiana.
Every day I'm hearing from business owners who say, I'm only posting half of what I could hire, right? So we're restricting growth by keeping people on the sidelines.
A Marion County judge blocked the plan and ordered the state to restart payments. By the time an appeals court ruled in the governor's favor, the program was already ending on its own. In August, images of chaos in Afghanistan as the U.S. withdrew, and a terrorist attack that killed 13 U.S. service members, including a Marine from Logansport, led Indiana Republican Jackie Walorski to call for President Biden to resign.
We are in a disaster, and this whole issue falls at the feet of Joe Biden. And, you know, he's been saying the buck stops with him, and I agree.
House Republican and frequent presidential critic Jim Banks was named to the January 6th investigation committee.
This is a partisan stunt, but it's a partisan stunt by the Democrats. And that's painfully obvious, I believe, to most of the American people. Democrats want to talk about January 6th. They want to beat up on Donald Trump.
Then was booted from it by Speaker Nancy Pelosi before the committee even held its first hearing.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see?
As President Biden announced the federal employer-based COVID-19 vaccine mandate, Indiana Republicans launched 3 attempts to stop it. Todd Rokita filed multiple federal lawsuits challenging the legality. Senator Mike Braun took the lead in a Republican push to get Congress to overturn it. And state lawmakers pushed a bill to essentially ban employer vaccine mandates in Indiana and force employers to pay for COVID-19 testing.
Because we're listening to our constituents and they're concerned about losing their jobs. They don't have the confidence in the process that has gone through to generate these vaccines.
I think it's more about politics than policy. It's an unfunded state mandate that is bad for businesses and bad for employees.
A push to pass the bill in one day in November collapsed after complaints from business and medical groups. The year also started speculation for who will run for governor in 2024. 2 Republicans confirm they are considering it, former State Senator Jim Merritt and Eric Doden, who led then Governor Mike Pence's economic team. And for Democrats, a new face of the party, former Republican State School Superintendent Jennifer McCormick.
Are you considering running for statewide office as a Democrat, or are you considering running for governor in 2024?
Well, I'm not ruling anything out, but currently I have no plans. I mean, I have enjoyed what I'm doing now, still helping schools and being an advocate for public education.
All right, coming up, we bring in our political experts about what to expect from state lawmakers when they come back to work. That's next on All Indiana Politics. And welcome back to All Indiana Politics on this Sunday as we welcome back Democrat Brian Gaddy and Republican Mario Maslamani. Gentlemen, good to see you. Happy New Year. The legislature, as you very well know, comes back this week, and we talked with Senator Young earlier in the show about the bills targeting crime here in Indianapolis. I know you heard that interview. Brian, we'll start with you today. Is this new set of bills going too far, in your opinion?
Well, really, in my opinion, we really need to continue to follow what Mayor Hockstett's doing. Mayor Hockstett is tapping into the American Rescue Plan money, and he has a very robust, strong approach toward fighting crime. And the thing that's so unfortunate is that it's not just the city of Indianapolis; it's major cities all over the country that are going through this crime wave. So I really think what we should have is a situation where we have lawmakers working in a collaborative spirit with the city of Indianapolis, the Marion County prosecutor, and we don't need any politicians grandstanding on this issue, because that's really what is coming across to me, is they're grandstanding. I don't know if they really are working with the Marion County prosecutor, if they're working with Mayor Hockstett's office, or if they're trying to embarrass the city of Indianapolis and the mayor. So that's really my concern.
Okay. All right, Mario, your thoughts?
I don't think anyone's trying to embarrass Mayor Hockstett. I think he should be embarrassed by the numbers of the murders that have been committed in Indiana. In Indianapolis alone, 249 homicides on December 1st, 61 homicides led to arrests. That is terrible numbers. And we are creating a huge record homicide level for 2021. And I can't even imagine what's going to happen in 22. I think that we do need to do something. Right now, the biggest problem from being a former prosecutor and as a defense attorney is jail overcrowding. That's the real issue. one of the reasons that these judges are required to put lower bonds or try to come up with creative ways to get people out of these jails is because of jail overcrowding. That is the #1 issue that's facing Marion County right now. And then the other issue is when you look at 61 homicides led to arrests out of 249, that's because people are not coming forward and willing to testify or claim who did the crime.
Yeah.
It's because snitches get stitches. That's the philosophy in a lot of these communities, and that's two of the main reasons that we are having record numbers of homicides in Indianapolis, and we are not solving this crime issue.
Yeah, but Mario, easier said than done, right? I mean, I don't know if there's any piece of legislation out there that could change that mindset. No, there's not. And the problem is there's not one magic bullet that's going to solve all these problems. You know, one of the bills that the Senate is looking to pass is making sure that there's only one person monitoring at maximum 29 people on home detention. Any more than that, it creates for issues and problems. Also, home detention is being used as a method for pretrial release and also a method of punishing people in lieu of sitting in the Marion County Jail or in the Department of Corrections. When people tamper with their bracelets, another bill that's being pushed this upcoming session is to increase penalties for that. I think those are common sense issues, solutions to some of these problems. Is there going to be one bill that solves all of this? No. But I think that these are small steps that are here to address not only Marion County's problem, but also problems that are arising throughout the state of Indiana. Brian, to Mario's point, the data, it speaks for itself. It's not good. These numbers, they have to change.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we Democrats are 100% in support of our law enforcement officers. We want to stop crime. But again, it goes to my point. Are these Senate Republicans, are they really working with Mayor Hogsett and the Marion County Prosecutor's Office? Are they trying to help us deal with this problem? Or are they trying to get a wedge issue to try to run on and try to hurt, try to stick it to us Democrats? I'm concerned as a Democrat, as a Hoosier, and as an American about lowering crime. That's my focus as a Democrat. And I hope that's the focus of these Senate Republicans. Or is that their focus, or is their focus more to try to find a wedge issue to try to paint us Democrats soft on crimes? I can tell you that, as they say down south, that dog won't hunt. Democrats, Indiana Democrats, and Democrats all over the country, we're just as adamant about fighting crime as our Republican friends.
Mario, I'll let you jump in here and respond before we move on. Is this politics, or are these senators really trying to make a difference? Well, Phil, Democrats run every major office in Marion County. They've had plenty of opportunities to try and solve this problem, or at least stem some of this increase in crime, and they have not been able to do it. And so we need people at the State House to come
this is a problem all over the country.
County.
Every major city is dealing with this problem. So it's
and
not
I'd
just
say Marion
Indianapolis.
County has a huge increase in crime, more so than a lot of these areas. If you're talking about New York or Chicago, I don't want to be compared to New York or Chicago to say Indianapolis is on track with New York or Chicago. Yeah. That's ridiculous. I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised, and I totally agree with that one, Mario and Brian. Hey, we'll move on real quickly because I have about 2 minutes left. We want to talk about COVID cases. They continue to rise, as you guys very well know, across the country, including right here in Indy. It seems like it's the Omicron variant, which from all indications are less severe. Mario, are you concerned this is going to impact the economy moving forward? I hope not. I think what the CDC did just yesterday or day before, where they lowered the requirement for quarantine from 10 days to 5 days, I think that's going to be helpful, especially to keep Hoosiers employed and to keep our businesses still going. I think that this winter months, as everyone predicted, was going to be a bad period of time. We just have to trudge forward. But I think that come spring, come summer, all right. I think Brian, 30 seconds left. Your response on COVID and the rising cases and the economy impact?
Well, the problem is the Republicans have politicized this issue all along. Indiana we have some of the worst COVID numbers in the country. And we had a former President Donald Trump that was telling people to drink bleach and ultraviolet rays and all this other nonsense about treating COVID. So the problem is the Republicans have done a disastrous job on COVID. They politicized the issue, and we've got so many people in our country, unfortunately, many of them Republicans, that don't take COVID seriously.
Yeah, okay.
That's the problem.
All right, gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Happy New Year. Always good to see you. More coming up after the break.
Happy New Year.
All right, thank you for joining us for All Indiana Politics this week. We'll be back here next Sunday morning, 9:30. You can also find our brand new All Indiana Politics podcast. It's part of the All Indiana Podcast Network at wishtv.com. Have a great rest of your weekend and a Happy New Year.